What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry I haven't been posting videos. I know it's been a minute, but to be honest, I've been busy working and started a little side business, and I've just been super busy the last 3 months. I ain't been doing a lot fishing. Really, I don't really care for the summertime fishing, with it being, you know, just 100 degrees outside. That water temp's like 90. I don't really do a whole lot of fishing that time of year, but now we're resetting. It's fall time. Me and my partner have a championship actually coming up in the end of October, so we are here gonna be pre-fishing tomorrow. So I thought, what better time than now to do a fall time baits and technique video. I'm out here, you know, I've been rigging a few rods. So I just figured, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and do a video on fall time, and I can show you guys my favorite baits, the techniques, kind of what I'm looking for as we go into this fall time of the year. So real quick, depending on where you're at in the country, the daytime temps and the nighttime temps, they're crashing right now. I mean, we're seeing those lows getting to the 50s. I think actually 2 days from now it's going to be like 40 at night here in Alabama, and those highs are only, you know, like 70, 75 degrees, and that water temp is falling in a hurry. The days are getting shorter, and so that means it is time for that fall transition phase. And what I like to look for in the fall is a big population of those fish are going to move up into those shallow creeks or the real shallow flat pockets. You still have a big population that'll stay out there deep, and those, you know, there could be some big fish out there deep, but my personal preference and what I like to do is to go find those ultra shallow fish. So I have really too many rods out here right now, but I'm gonna kind of try to break it down for you. You know, there's multiple baits per, you know, technique, or, you know, that suits your body of water depending on what structure you're fishing. So I've got multiple out here, because we're, like I said, we're going to practice tomorrow, so I've got too many, honestly. But starting off, your grass fish. If you've got you know, you know, scattered bank grass, you know, that willow grass, you know, a few mats, stuff like that, it's hard to beat. My go-to is a Swimjig, and of course I'm trying to mimic bait fish this time of year, so it's going to be white. But one thing that I like to do is I like to downsize, and you're going to notice in a lot of these baits this time of year are more downsized than normal, because most of the time you guys will notice the bait fish is really small this time of year. There's still, if you've got gizzard shad or anything like that, you still have those larger than normal bait fish, and I have baits for that. But for, you know, those fish that are moving up way back into the pockets, I like to downsize. So my number one covering water is going to be a Swimjig, and this is a dirty jig. This is a compact Swimjig, 5/16. It's just a, you know, all around super small. I mean, you guys can see, I mean, how small that bait actually is. This is something I can pick up and I can burn the banks up, cover a ton of water. And that's the other key that I do in the fall, is I do not slow down at all, other than one time, and I'll get into that here in just a second. But 90% of the time this time of year, I am moving. I am covering as much water as I can, and I am burning it up. So Swimjig, if you've got that, like I said, that scattered grass, that, you know, willow grass that's on the bank, Swimjig is hard to beat. The other thing that goes kind of hand in hand with the Swimjig and that sparse, you know, kind of scattered grass, is going to be a buzzbait. Buzzbait can be a dynamite option this time of year. It allows you to cover water. It allows you to get that reaction bite, and it's just, who doesn't love catching buzzbait fish? But another thing, this is a 1/4 ounce buzzbait. I love to downsize, and I just go simple. I put a a little white crawl on it. You can throw a swim bait on the back of it. Anything to give those fish something to key on. And also I like throwing some sort of bait that's got a flat bottom to it. That way I can skip this bait up under docks. If I'm just running that sparse grass and I come up to a dock, I can skip this bait up in there and get a few more bites. But that's also a dirty jigs. It's the Canterbury buzzbait, 1/4 ounce. Just incredible. Like I said, downsize is key for me in the fall. If you live on a lake that has got a lot of matted vegetation, like on the Tennessee River, for instance, it's got miles of just, I call them cheese mats. I mean, it's just fields of grass. That's when I go to a frog. And this is a snagproof, just a traditional walking frog. I don't throw the popping frog in that matted stuff, but something like this that you can throw on top of those mats, because there are fish like on the Tennessee River that get up under those big mats that are chasing shad, bluegill, and a frog can just be an incredible way to go and catch those fish. I don't like to slow down and flip for them like you would in the summertime, just because I'm looking to cover water this time of year. These fish are moving, they're chasing bait, there's no reason to slow down. So a frog is what I go for if you've got that really, really thick grass on your body of water. And guys, I'm gonna link all of this stuff, or I'm gonna put it in the description, exactly which baits I'm talking about, and I'll try to put some colors in there for you so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Topwater, the other topwater other than the buzzbait. A topwater you have got to have tied on this year, this time of year. I mean, those fish can start busting out in front of you just anywhere. So you've got to be prepared at all times. And I've got two for that open water, walking style topwater bait. I've got a Reaction Innovation vixen, and this is for if those fish are actually chasing bigger bait that I can actually physically see that, hey, that's bigger than normal bait. I'm gonna throw the full-sized vixen. If those fish are keyed in on smaller bait fish, I'm gonna throw something like this popper. That's that Shimano, I think it's the World Pop maybe. If you guys haven't tried that bait out, it is incredible. That little flash boost inside, I mean, it's just incredible. But if those fish are busting on super small bait fish, I'm immediately gonna be throwing something that size. If I can get away with it, I would much rather throw the full-size topwater, just because it's got 3 hooks, bigger line, bigger rod. But like I said, a lot of times those fish are keying in on super, super small bait fish. But guys, do not mess up and go out this time of year without some sort of walking topwater bait, and always have it. I laid on the side of the boat already ready for me to just pick up and fire out there on those fish that come up busting. So switching gears to ultra shallow. So guys, like I said in the beginning of this video, these fish, a lot of them will push that bait up there extremely shallow. I mean, shallower than, like, when you think you're shallow, go even more shallow. I mean, it is insane how shallow these fish will actually go this time of year. And 2 baits that I like to use to target those fish is some sort of square bill that I can burn. And this is a Strike King 1.5 square bill, some sort of shad color. And I usually bump my line size up to 14 or 15 pound line, just because I'm only looking to fish this bait in like a foot of water. So I'm not worried about it diving to that 3 foot or so. But that's one of the baits that I like to go up there back to those creeks and just burn. I mean, if you can find any isolated lay downs or some stumps, anything like that, that's one of the baits that I'm going to throw, is a square bill. The other one that I'm going to throw is a smaller spinner bait, and this I like to throw a double willow leaf, just because I can burn this a lot faster. I like to throw a smaller spinnerbait. This is a 1/2 ounce, but this is a smaller compact spinnerbait. And this is one of those deals that, again, same place you're going to throw that square bill, I'm going to throw this bait up there and burn it. I mean, sometimes even waking, you know, putting a V on the water with this bait. Just dirt, ultra shallow. But a spinnerbait is another one that they can just get onto that bait and you can throw it all day long. Incredible bites on a spinnerbait this time of year. For you guys that are the deep fishermen that want to go and catch those fish that are corralling bait out there, you know, maybe some humps or points out there on the river, stuff like that, I like to throw a single swim bait. And you can catch them on a deep crankbait as well, but I found that for me, I have a lot more confidence in just throwing a swim bait. Again, a downsized swim bait, that's a 3.5 inch Largo shad on a 3/8 ounce dirty jig swim bait head. And this is something for those fish that are out there in that 12, 15, 18 foot, I'm picking this guy up and I'm gonna cover water. I'm gonna figure out, you know, what depth they're in, if they're suspended or if they're, you know, right there on the bottom. And I'm gonna wind this thing through those fish and catch those deeper fish. Another bait that I don't have tied on right now is a rattle trap. Some sort of lipless crankbait is also a incredible bait to throw on those fish. It mimics a dying bait fish. You want to find those big schools of shad out there deep. You want to throw that trap out there, let it hit the bottom, rip it up, let it fall, and a lot of times you're going to get bit on the fall because those fish are busting on, you know, big bait balls, and as soon as those, you know, shad start dying, they're just going to flutter to the bottom. And that lipless, it does a fantastic job at mimicking that. So I said earlier that there are fisheries that have, you know, big gizzard shad or thread fin, anything like that, that are bigger than average bait sizes. And if I'm caught in a situation like that, that those fish are chasing those bigger than average bait fish, I'm gonna throw a glide bait. And I've got a few different ones that I've come to like and gotten some confidence in. But you want some sort of glide bait that you can move quicker than normal. And I've got two that I like this time of year. If I can get this guy out. And this is, if you guys haven't been under a rock, you know about this bait. This is the Spro KGB Chad, the Chad shad. Incredible bait. If you have not got this and tried it out, you're missing it. I'm telling you, this is a awesome bait to throw. The other one that I've been throwing is the 6 cents draw. Really good bait. A little bit smaller profile, but still has an incredible action. You can work it fast, it doesn't blow out. But these are baits that I'm still looking to cover water. I mean, quick. I'm not finessing these baits around. I am moving quick. I'm trying to get a reaction bite. You know, like if you're running docks, I'm gonna throw this bait up there on the side of those docks, and I'm gonna work it as quick as I can. And I'm moving on. I'm not looking to just soak this bait, none of that. This time of year, I'm moving. So a glide bait, if you guys are wanting to chase that bigger than average fish, if you've got, like I said, the big thread fin or gizzard shad in your lake, don't be scared to pick up a big glide bait this time of year. Those fish will still chase a big bait this time of year. Even though there's a lot of small shad this time of year, I'm telling you guys, if you go up to the other end of the scale of big baits, you will be surprised what comes out there and eats it. The last bait I've got, and it goes against what I've been preaching this whole video about covering water, going fast. It is the only bait and the only situation that I'm gonna slow down this time of year. And that is if I'm gonna be fishing docks, if I'm having to slow down around some isolated rock or isolated laydowns. And that is a jig. Some sort of arty jig, you know, skipping jig, flipping jig, anything like that. This is a Dirty Jigs Matt Harren flipping jig, 1/2 ounce. I've got a rage crawl on the back of them. This is something, like I said, if those fish are not wanting to go out there and chase a bait down, you know, if you've got, you know, a front that comes in and just kind of knocks those fish to where they're not wanting to really be super active, I'm gonna go pick apart every hard structure where all of that bait fish is with this jig. And that is, like I said, that's the only reason I'm gonna slow down, is to throw a jig. And I'm only targeting this with this bait. I'm only throwing up against, like I said, that hard structure. I'm not gonna go out there and drag it off some points, you know, and saddles and do that kind of stuff. I am very specific on where I'm throwing this bait. Dock post, isolated stump, a laydown, that one big rock you see that's out there off the bank, you know, 10 foot or so. Even bluff walls, you can still catch fish on bluff walls this time of year. But any hard structure, I am gonna flip a jig in there. So guys, I know it's a big variety of baits, but you have to have a bait for every situation this time of year. And you can't go out there unprepared, because like I said, those fish can come up busting out in front of you at any given time. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Comment below what your favorite fall bait is for this time of year. And like I said, look in the description. I'm gonna put all of these baits I talked about in the description. I'll list a few colors so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. But stay tuned, because like I said, we're going to practice tomorrow, so I should have some practice clips coming up within the next week or so, and then we'll have a tournament video coming up in about 2 weeks or so. So be looking out for that, and we'll see you guys on the next one.